Hi, everybody. I'm Father Bill Holtzinger, and this is your Friday Reflection, or my Friday Reflection, or our Friday Reflection. I'm not alone today. I'd like to introduce you to...
Kellett from Catholic Answers. Very happy to be here, Father.
It's great to have you, Cy. Cy's here at Holy Trinity to give some talks about the faith, and I'm not going to get into the details. I'm going to have him talk about that briefly, but we're in between talks right now. So if you see this, it's likely because it's already happened. But in that case, Cy, maybe share something about yourself and also maybe how you got connected with Catholic Answers, and you're the host of Catholic Answers Live.
Yep.
So, yeah,
I've been, it's coming up on 10 years now, Father, that I've been at Catholic Answers Live. Before that, I was at the Immaculate Heart Radio Network, which is mostly in California, but on the west coast of the United States. But I've been in Catholic media since 1996. I started working for the Bishop of San Diego for his newspaper in 96. And I feel like I have been through the most turbulent time in media ever. And it's so different now. What is that, 30 years? It's a 30 years span. It feels like 1,000 years of difference.
I've gone from actual film media to digital media. Right?
Yeah. And from, newsprint. Like we were printing on newsprint. And I think most dioceses or many dioceses have moved completely away from newsprint. And now we're doing this kind of thing. This would have been unthinkable when I started in Catholic media.
Yeah. The Archdiocese doesn't have a newspaper anymore. The Catholic Sentinel has been retired, and they just do emails. And yeah, you're right. You're right. So what is it that Catholic Answers Live does, and what is the mission of it, and how can people connect with it?
I kind of think of us as obstacle removal service in that, sometimes questions are obstacles or there are obstacles and people will ask questions. And our job is to get things out of the way of people coming, basically to God, to Jesus, and to the church Jesus founded. So we're trying to help people by answering questions, essentially. The ministry or the apostolate of apologetics goes all the way back to the first century. Jesus himself engaged in some apologetics, so that you have to answer. He answers a lot of questions. You got to make explanations. You have to make defenses of positions, and so that's what apologetics is. I think it has sometimes, if I may say, Father, there people are suspicious of it because it doesn't seem evangelical or it doesn't seem ecumenical. But I think done right, it's just a service. We would like people to know what the Catholic Church teaches and why she teaches that. If they know that, then they can approach that any way they want. But we want them to know what it is.
Okay. And clearly you must have gotten, or the group got together early on, because Catholic.com would be a website that's worth gold.
Yeah, right, right. Well, yeah, it's the second most visited Catholic website after Vatican.va, and you can see why, Catholic.com. So about 78 or 79 we got started. So we're coming up on 50 years. Carl Keating founded it. And Carl he is I want to say a visionary, but maybe he's just a very, God's grace led him to certain things. And the story I've been told is some people were sitting in the office and Carl, sometime back in the 90s, early 90s, said, hey, they got this new thing coming, the World Wide Web, and you can buy a spot on it. And so I bought Catholic.com. He probably paid $10 for it or something back in the... And now it's, and we're... comes with a kind of responsibility to just teach what the church teaches, say what the church says, explain it, and defend it. That's what we try to do.
Yeah. I got fatherbill.org. I can't believe I got that.
I can't believe you got that either.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Somebody's got a lock hold on fatherbill.com.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay the thousands of dollars.
No.
It's not worth it. So apologetics isn't apologizing for something.
No. It's apologia, I guess. I'm not a Greek scholar,
I'm not either.
But I guess it's to make a defense of something. Okay. So, the meaning in English has changed over the centuries. But when Justin Martyr wants to explain Christianity to the emperor, he makes an apologia. He writes a long correspondence with the emperor saying, look, maybe you've heard these things about us, but this is what we do, and we always pray for you. That's one of the things that he makes sure to get in there, that we honor the emperor and we pray for you. And he explains what it is to be a Christian. Now, that might have gone over well with the emperor, maybe not. I don't know. But in the end, he's called Justin Martyr for a reason. So at some point, it didn't go over well with somebody.
Right, right. So you had many guests on your show.
Yeah.
Maybe could you speak about some of them and things that you found profound about or were impressed by them? And what were some of the most difficult questions or interesting questions that you've heard?
Well, if I may start with the last one.
Yeah,
the most difficult question is always, and I'm sure you get this a great deal as a priest, how could an all-loving, all-powerful God allow this to happen? And it's a suffering, a loss, an ongoing suffering. The answer to suffering is the hardest answer, without question. And so that's a very, very tough one. The ones we get most commonly, because a lot of our listeners are Protestant Christians, where's purgatory in the Bible? Why do you worship Mary? Or some other variation on the Marian question. Why do you call her Mother of God? Or why do you believe that she was immaculately conceived? This seems like nonsense to many of our Protestant brothers and sisters. So those are very, very common questions. I mean, why do you call a priest father? You wouldn't believe it, but that's a pretty common question. People want to know. Jesus said, call no man father. So we have to explain that one. And now I forgot the first part of your question. Oh, the people.
Who are your guests?
Well, we employ some very, very good apologists. Tim Staples, Jimmy Aiken, Dr. Carla Broussard, Joe Heschmeyer, and Trent Horn are all ours. And now Tom Nash is one of ours too. So we're always looking for people who can do it. The basic criteria in hiring are charitable and clear. That's it. You got to love the person you're talking to, and you have to give clear answers. And those guys are all pretty good at that. I got to a couple times interview Dr. Peter Kraft, and lots of people know him and his books and love him, and that was fun to interview him. I've gotten to interview on occasion very high officials of the church, and I've learned this about them: they don't want to be interesting. They don't want to make news.
Right.
So sometimes you're like, wow, this is actually kind of a hard interview. I thought this was going to be easier.
They don't want to be edgy.
No, in no way do they. There's nope. They've got enough going on. They've got enough troubles. They don't need troubles from us. So
as a pastor, I'd have some empathy and sympathy at the same time with that myself, because we don't want to rock the ship, but at the same time we have to steer the ship.
Yeah, right.
We have this boat, the church. We have to what's wonderful for me is that I don't have to make it up. And programs like yourself that you host are really important. So if somebody wants to, let's say those topics you just asked or mentioned, if they want to look that up, can they find that somewhere?
Easy. You just go to Catholic.com and you type it in the search bar. Years ago, our chief operating officer, John Sorensen, was like, look, if we're going to have Catholic.com, and we're going to have these millions of people, I think it's 4 million a month or 4 million a week, I can't remember, but I think 4 million a month come and ask a question. It's got to be searchable. So they worked with Google and made it very, very searchable. And so you can just type in, where's purgatory in the Bible? You'll probably get 8 or 10 articles and conversations, recorded conversations that we've got on where's purgatory in the Bible.
I've gone there. Oh, yeah. And I've got degrees in, as theology and all that kind of stuff. But some of those questions, I need to remember all that stuff. And some of the guests you've had, I would not be able to answer. I'm very impressed how quickly a lot of these folks can just quote scripture just off their head.
I know. I know. And I have to say, in 10 years, I've gotten better at it, but nothing like what some of it's truly amazing. Like if someone says to me, where's purgatory in the Bible? I go, first letter to the Corinthians. Where? Well, let's look it up together. I know it's in there, but I can't remember where it is.
I was just watching, and they find that verse so quickly. I'm like, whoa, even on my phone, I can't get that fast. So
it is. And I remember when I used to fill in hosts 10 or maybe 12 years ago, I came into the office because I wanted to see, how do these guys do this? Like, what kind of computer banks do they have in front of them? Tim Staples sits down, He's got the catechism and the Bible on the desk with him.
Yeah.
He never opens them, does the full hour. I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
I have no idea.
That's pretty good.
I have no idea. Oh my gosh. So, personal question. So, as a person that has, how often is, first of all, the radio station? Is it every day?
Oh yeah, we're on 2 hours a day every weekday.
Okay.
So every afternoon, like here, 3 to 5 here. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do in your off time? People ask me that question. What do a priest do? What does a radio host do in his off time?
I try to look busy, you know.
Try to look busy.
That's my primary thing because I don't want anybody to ask me to do anything else. No, I'm married, right? All of our kids are grown though. So we're in that phase of life. Our youngest is 27. So at Catholic Answers, I write, like one of the talk tonight is on how to talk with anyone about Jesus. And that's the name of a book that I just did with Steve Dawson. So we have kind of responsibilities to produce written work. I probably should be producing more than I am, to be honest with you, Father. But
well, this is not confession time, so you're good.
yeah, I don't bless me, Father, for I have not written what I was supposed to write. I've missed many deadlines. So and then there's the best thing is this: coming out and visiting, coming out and talking with people.
Yeah. Now you just got done talking to our middle school.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Maybe could you just summarize that in a kind of a nutshell? Because I think people need to hear this. Catholics, we're practicing Catholics, we need to hear this basic charisma and evangelical call that we have.
Right. You know, Father, the main thing I wanted to say to them is I went through the 4 steps of St. Peter's life in the Gospels with them. And that's meeting Jesus, following Jesus, receiving Jesus in communion, and then being a missionary for Jesus. And that those 4 steps are the same 4 steps you and I got to go through. If we want to be mature Christians, everybody's got to go through those steps. If you haven't met Jesus, you got to meet him. And I know that the schools are just wonderful, but I feel like we always have to keep reminding young people Jesus wants to be part of your life. So the part that I really wanted to get to in that talk with them is, if you don't know Jesus, ask him to come into your life. And it's very, very simple. And, and I always feel like with 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, if they took that to heart, just one of them took it to heart and went home and did that tonight, that might be a life transformed. So I do think we have that. That's what I most was excited about sharing with and I think I repeated it several times with them, that you can just say, Jesus, I want to know you. I don't know you, or I'm not sure if I know you, and he will come and be part of your life.
When I was 14 years old, I moved from Medford, which is a city, southern part of Oregon, to this area, and I had no friends. But I had one. And I'd noticed that my sisters would go on retreats, and they'd come back and be like, okay, where's my sister? Or who are you? Where's my sister? I can't, because they changed because of these retreats. And I'm like, I want to do that. So while I was I went to Mass every single weekend, and I even was dragged into being an altar server, which I eventually loved doing. But I encountered him again in a very deep way at 14. So
how beautiful.
Yeah, and that changed my life. The whole course.
Yeah.
I did work. I had things I needed to do as a young adult as well, but it was always the faith is first.
Yeah. And we got to, 14, that's, sometimes we don't think they're ready or something. Boy, the soul is ready for Jesus at 14.
When I encountered Jesus, I just felt so loved. And now that was most important. That love was so attractive and didn't reduce anything in my life. It vivified. It kind of exploded my life.
Right. That's what Pope John Paul used to say. He doesn't take away anything that has any value. Jesus is not a subtraction in your life. And I think that's the fear we have before we accept him, is that it's going to be subtraction.
Yeah, last couple of weekends I've been preaching about how if we give ourselves over to Christ, we think that maybe he's holding out on us in some way, that he really doesn't have our best interest in mind. But I hope that everybody, if you were at those masses, you heard that, but also even today. And if anything does strike you about interest about the Catholic faith, whether you're Catholic or not, I want to encourage you to go to Catholic.com. And Cy Kellett has his program there, Catholic Answers Live, and there's a whole bunch of other things there as well. And I don't know, maybe give you a plug. I think
I appreciate that. Thank you, Father. Thank you very much.
I'm the bashfulist. Is that the way? not unworried about promoting what is good.
And I hope, I really do. We work hard so that what people will encounter there is what they will find in the Catechism of the Catholic Church and the documents of the Catholic Church. And I feel pretty confident that we get close. You know, nobody's perfect. And sometimes people call and go, this is completely wrong. This art, and we go, yeah, I don't know how that got through. But, you know, but it's 40 years now of a database of articles answering questions about the faith. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for saying that, Father.
Absolutely. May God bless you all, and I hope to see you this weekend. Deacon Brett is actually preaching this weekend, and Father Dominic is coming back from vacation, so you'll see the whole trifecta of the clerics this weekend, and I hope to see you as well. Again,
Thank you, Father.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me come here. I've had a great time.
Absolutely. See you later, folks. Bye-bye.